Good evening, Wargamers, and welcome to yet another Great British Hobbit League battle report. It is currently midnight at my house. Right at the end of the day, my hair looks like a fluffy duckling because I've been working in the rain all night, and I'm sat here about to play 500 points of Lord of the Rings strategy battle game with my friend Pete.
Which would probably be me, I'm guessing anyway. We're looking at predominantly dwarves against an entire cavalry Rohan army.
And you know how cavalry Rohan armies go, guys. They're a load of rubbish. They're a load of rubbish. They don't work. They've not been on a little bit of a winning streak on these battle reports. I do actually have Preston tournament in the morning, which I've got to be in Preston for 9 o'clock. And I've got to finish painting off 4 Outriders. So if this doesn't show that I'm dedicated towards this channel, I don't know what does. Okay.
Let's be honest, with tournaments, you have to be painting the night before anyway. It's the law.
So I've heard. So we're going to get on and show you the armies. We're going to start things off with the Rohan all-mounted force. As you can see, I have stolen Steve's Knight at the Pelennor ready for the tournament tomorrow. This is the same list that you have seen with me on many of the battle reports. Sons of Earl, Royal Guard mounted with throwing spears, Westfold red shields and Outriders. And in the second warband we've got Erkenbrand as always, and exactly the same as the first warband. And that is my all-mounted Rohan list.
So for me, I'm starting off with Balin, who's carrying Durin's axe like a pro. He's got 10 Khazad Guard with him, which is a bit unusual for me, but testing out majoritively a list that James provided to me. Next up, we've got Halbrand with the Banner of the Evenstar, and he's followed by 4 Rangers of Arnor, 2 of which have spears. And he's also got his buddy, which you can see on the right there, the Ranger of the North, who's kind of just there to really give me a few bows as support. And alongside them, I've then also got a Dwarf Captain with shield and 5 more Khazad Guard.
And this is the board that we're going to be playing on. As you can see, I have also stolen Steve's terrain because it was so amazing. He's lending me this for tonight because he knew that we're filming another battle report. So it's good to see everybody chipping in. So we've got his gorgeous Amon Sul, which he's made himself, and some ruins over in the corner, and then there are my ruins down in this corner as well. So enough terrain for this 4x4 battle board. So let's move on to the scenario. So we're going to be rolling for the scenario. Let's see what we get. And that is a 4. What's number 4?
4 is Lords of Battle, perhaps one of my favourite scenarios. It's about the only one I ever win.
So tell us what happens with Lords of Battle, Pete.
Lords of Battle is basically beat 10 shades of whatever out of each other. You get points for wounding and killing the enemy general, breaking the enemy force, and general slaughter, really.
Fantastic, and this is exactly the same that me and Steve played earlier. And if you haven't seen that battle report, close your ears now, because it was 25 to 3 to the Rohan. So we're now going to roll and see who gets to deploy first. As you can see here, me and Pete matched the rolls several times before finally seeing who got to that means deployment goes to the Dwarves. So Pete's just rolled to deploy his first warband. He's deployed Balin and his Khazad Guard in the ruin here. So I'm going to roll and see where Erkenbrand's warband finishes up. It's 5, so anywhere on my half of the board. So Erkenbrand's just deployed. He got to deploy anywhere. We're being quite aggressive with this warband again, and we've deployed it right opposite the Dwarves in the ruin. So let's see what Pete gets for... What are you rolling next?
I'm going to go for the Ranger of the North next, which unsurprisingly James expected me to do first. Now that's in the middle 12 inches of the board.
So you can see the Ranger of the North, it's decided to deploy in the ruins there. We're going to roll for Eomer's warband, and let's see where he ends up. And it's a 1, so it's in the middle 12. So Eomer's had to deploy in the middle of the board as well, so that's how it looks at the moment. So Pete, what were you rolling for next?
I'm going to go for the Dwarf Captain with shield and 5 Khazad Guard next. And managed to get a 6, my ever lovely 6.
Around to 6, so it's anywhere on the board. And that's it for deployment. So we're now going to both roll for priority. Let's see who goes first. And that is Dwarves going first. So at the end of turn 1 movement, this is what it looks like. Pete moved his Dwarves up on this area here. He didn't move anything else. So Erkenbrand's led a bit of a charge against the Khazad Guard and the captain there. These guys have moved up just in reserve. These guys have moved half movement. These guys haven't moved yet. Over on this side, much of Eomer's warband have actually hidden from bowfire by getting right up close to the ruin. The Son of Oil has managed to get behind a tree over here. It's quarter movement passing through the trees, but we have agreed that we need terrain that looks flat. It's just normal terrain, and the Outriders have stayed still. So unsuccessful shooting on both parts, mainly due to all the windows and doorways and innerways that we had for those. So we're actually going to come down into combat. So it was Pete's priority, so he's going to pick the order which we're going to do these combats. So where would you like to start, Pete? I'm
going to start off with the climatic duel between the Dwarf Captain and Erkenbrand.
So you're starting with the exciting stuff. So there's a 6 there, so we need a 6 in order to match this. And we don't. We get a maximum of 4. So the captain gets 2 strikes. Are you going against Erkenbrand or the horse?
I'm going to throw both of them against Erkenbrand.
Both against Erkenbrand, so it's strength 4 against defense 7, which I believe is 6s.
Okay, so let's roll up, see what we get. Double 2.
Double 2.
Absolutely fails to do it.
So this is a Son of Ale versus a Khazad Guard. They both roll for the fight. And the Son of Ale takes it with 3-5.
Here we go, 6s to kill him. And nothing there, so he doesn't die, but he is knocked down.
Khazad versus a Royal Guard. Both roll off, and the Royal Guard wins the fight. So does he kill him? He rolls again, and we get the 6 and take him down.
Head to the other Rohan Royal Guard, and yet again, I'm going to use just my normal hand.
So nice rolling. And we get the 5 and the 3. So he's knocked down. And we get the 6 that we need.
Now a Khazad versus a Westfold Red Shield.
Let's see how this goes.
So
a little bit better than before.
So it's a 4. So I need a 4 or more to draw or win the combat. And we get the 4 that we needed.
Okay. Quick moment. And I get a 6.
And he gets a 6, which means that I lose that combat.
So I get to push you back. And I still fail to do absolutely everything.
He's got a 2. So with 2 Khazad Guard dead and 1 knocked down, that is the end of our combat. On to turn 2. Okay, so it's the start of turn 2. We're both going to roll for priority now. Let's see who goes first. And it is Rohan priority. Pete's decided to call a heroic move. Why have we decided to do that, Pete?
Well, I went with the Dwarf Captain because his might's a little bit less precious to me. But it was so that this guy could get back on his feet and move half movement. And also, basically, so that I can do a preemptive countercharge. As you know, cavalry get extra attacks and knockdown, etc. when they charge. So it's really important for the dwarves to minimise those attacks and try and do some low damage. And hopefully I'll roll a little bit better this time.
So Pete does his heroic moves, basically just getting his dwarves into contact with my cavalry to stop them from getting the charge.
So trying to be careful to measure properly.
Especially when it's on camera, Pete.
Exactly. I don't want to be mismeasuring things like my esteemed opponent, who constantly accidentally forgets how far he's going to move. Oh no, he doesn't.
I'm giving Pete a really weird look right now, thinking, which opponent are you thinking of?
I just make opponents up. Yeah, I'm basically moving that guy there so that he's got his inch control zone, trying to again counteract this guy.
So this is the rest of Pete's heroic move. He's just getting Barlin down and a few of them off the ruins. A little bit of difficult terrain that he's got to jump over and the such like to get over. So not able to get into contact this turn, crucially.
Rohan turn! That's the end of turn 2 movement. We're going to be moving on to shooting any second now, but just to go through what we've done. So the Outriders have stayed in the ruins. Over on this side, we've had some of the Rangers who are manning Amon Sul move across and down the stairs. Some more of the cavalry warband reacted to the heroic move and have surrounded the dwarven attack here. Some of the dwarves attempting to get out of the ruins now, looking pretty surrounded, but it's still early in the game. Anything could happen. Some unsuccessful shooting over here by the Royal Guard up at the Rangers, and the Rangers down at the Royal Guard. Also had a pop shot at a dwarf in doorway there to no effect. The Outriders over here did manage to kill a Khazad Guard closest to them on that flank. And in other news, the guys in the windows did manage to snipe out the Outrider who did fill this doorway. So a couple of the casualties due to shooting. Let's move into the combats.
Khazad versus Red Shield and Son of Ale.
Okay, go on.
So Khazad Guard gets 5.
5, so we've got 5 dice to match or beat that. And we match it, and therefore we go to a roll off. On a 4, 5, 6, it's going to be me. And it's a 6. So 6 dice, we do 6s.
And we get it. So now it's the Son of Ale versus a Khazad. When it comes to the fight, they actually roll a 5, we get a 6. Do we kill him with a 6? No, we don't.
Now, because he's moving back into control zones, does that mean that he is trapped and therefore we get double dice?
He can't actually move into the control zone, so yes, he's trapped. He stays where he is. We move the Son of Ale back instead, but you get to do double the number of attempts to wound per attack, so you get to roll 2 more.
Does this mean that I'm learning rules?
Yes, it does.
Let's have a look. Okay, so we've got another 2 chances here to get a magic 6. And it fails anyway!
Now a Khazad attempts a piercing strike at Aemma.
Which will add 2 to his strength and minus 2 from his defense for this round of combat.
Okay, so you're doing a piercing strike,
Yes, I am.
otherwise known as cleave.
That's all I'm saying.
It sounds good. Okay, so should we roll off? Let's see who gets it. And he gets another 5. You're liking these 5s, so we're going to roll. We beat it. And I just home in on that 6 straight away. So he's knocked down. So we'll start off with Aemma's strength 5. So strength 5 against toughness 7 is 5s.
Yep.
Okay, so we need 5s on these 8 dice. Oh, and he's very, very dead, Khazad.
So that's a fainting Royal Guard and a Westfold Red Shield plus Erkenbrad versus the Dwarf Captain. Erkenbrad did actually call Heroic Strike and he goes up to fight 8.
So we need a 6, and we get a 6, and therefore 6s. Strength 4 against toughness 7. 6s. One wound, we'll put that to the side. Wow.
This could be very painful, right?
I think that is end game. And the Westfold Red Shield. Another 6, re-rolling the 1. Okay, that is 5 wounds. Bye-bye, Dwarf Captain.
And it's worth noting that in a Lords of Battle game as well, not only do you get a victory point for every wound that you cause, but also for every point of fate used. If the model dies without using fate, you still get a victory point. So in this case, James has just won 3 victory points for killing 1 model.
Yay! Another point is that in this scenario, I believe that if you kill an enemy hero, that you regain might point for one of your heroes.
Yes. As long as you've got a hero within the fight and you've killed an enemy hero or monster, you regain a point of might spent earlier in the battle.
So, Erkenbrand, you hear that, pal? You get that might back. Final fight, which is the Son of Ale versus the Dwarf. Nearly forgot about that one. Blimey, so he's going all out here.
So again, I'm going to add 2 to my strength and minus 2 from my...
All up.
I somehow think I've lost this fight.
It's, well, I've seen it before where I roll 1s and 2s all along, so... 6 dice here, needing 6s. The dwarfs are
first because I'm at minus 2 defense.
Oh, so what defense are you now?
So your strength 4 and now defense 5.
So I need 5s.
So you need 5s.
5s, and it wouldn't have made a difference anyway, because you are very, very dead. So there ends the combat. And if you look over here, the dwarf dead pile is growing. We're rolling for turn 3 priority. Let's see what happens. A 2. And there's a 3 for Rohan. So it's Rohan priority.
Just looking at turn 3 movement, you can see there we've moved round the ruins ever so slightly, and finally Balin is getting into combat. Cavalry swarms in on a lone Khazad, who actually rolls a 6 and manages to win this fight.
And the Khazad heroically beats them back.
Beats everyone back.
Now the Son of Earl does have to see how much his defence goes down for doing a piercing strike. So he goes down by 1 defence. So he's now down to defence 5, the same as everything else. So where would you like to put your single strike?
He chooses to swing at the Son of Ale, and that's the risk of piercing strike, but I thought I had it with all those dice, but it just shows what can happen in this fabulous game.
So next up we're going to do the Son of Earl against the Khazad Guard over there. So let's see what happens. 3 against the 1, you can do any special strikes?
No, stick into my normal hand weapon again.
And he beats me. And he beats the Son of Earl back.
And needing to roll a 5 to kill.
Oh,
Nearly.
it was nearly, I'm pretty sure it bounced like that and then jumped over. But he doesn't win that fight. So we're going to move on to the next one, I'll do it straight away. We've got the Westfold Red Shield and an Outrider versus the Khazad. Gets the 6. And we get a 6-2. Now we're both fight value 4, so it's the roll off, it was my priority. So 1, 2, 3, it's Pete, did we say? And then 4, 5, 6, it's me. And I actually win this one.
So needing 6s, re-rolling 1s, and we get it.
Yep.
Yep, okay.
We would just like to point out that this battle report is going on and it's currently about 1:30. I've still got the Outriders to paint and I've got to set off for Preston in a couple of hours. So this is dedication. Probably a stupid idea, but I haven't played Pete for a long time, so it's nice to get a game. Now I am lower fight value anyway, so I might as well feint. And because it's a drawn, that means that he actually moves the Outrider back.
Plus he's one of your archers, but I didn't kill him anyway, unfortunately.
So we're going to move on to Erkenbrand, who did get attacked over the barrier by that Khazad there. So we'll move on to that one next. And I do still get 3 dice because I charged, even though it's been counter-charged, which I did learn over the last couple of games, which I didn't know about. Okay, so yeah, no special things here. Okay, and Erkenbrand does win that. Okay. So, does he still get his knockdown? Or does it just against his
You won't get your knockdown against him because you didn't charge him.
Yeah.
You still get your extra attack for having charged though.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so yeah, we think this is right. So anyway, he needs he's strength 4 against defense 7, so we need 6s.
And he is out of there.
And he kills him. So next up, we've got Balin versus Knight of the Pelennor. And again, this is because I'm filming. I forgot to mention I am heroic striking with Aoma.
Counter heroic strike.
So we've got 2 heroic strikes here. So let's see. Balin goes up to 10.
Because that's the max.
So I need a 5 or a 6 to equal this. It's a 4. So if we actually draw the combat, then unfortunately I will lose. Okay, so I've got 4 dice to try and get a 6.
And Balin gets 2.
Okay, so I'm hoping now that you get less than what I get. Okay.
What I'm also going to do actually, he's going to use his axe as he's going to make a piercing strike. So he's going to add 1 to his strength and -1 to his defense.
So it becomes strength 5.
Yep, and hopefully that'll be a good thing for me, not a bad one. So rolling off to see who wins the fight.
Okay, come on, Emma. Oh, so we need a 6 here, but he can use a point of might again. How many points of might does he have?
Balin has 3.
That's 3, so this would take him down to 2 if we get a 6
He's
here.
used a point of might for the epic strike, and I'm going to use another point of might to win the fight.
To win the fight. So that does mean that he wins the fight, so Aema goes back, he's down to...
In fact, actually my apologies, before I do that, Balin's magic axe, Durin's axe in fact, allows him to re-roll 1 dice per fight, basically, as though he's got a battle damage. So I'm going to re-roll this one first.
Don't get a 6.
And as said before, I'm going to use the might.
So he's used the might.
But it's worth remembering that special rule because it can sometimes save me a point of might.
Of course. Okay, so Balin is now down to 1 might, but he has won the fight against Aema, who's on 2 might. So let's see what happens.
Okay, so I'm now strength 5 against your defense of
7.
Which means
5.
that I need a 5. However, Durin's axe is also a 2-handed weapon, but doesn't give you -1 on your dual roll.
So I actually need to get 4s or more, and I'm punch
That is Steve's model. He'll be really upset. Steve, did you see that? That was not me.
It's not on camera, honest. Oh god, what's happening?
Look after him. Come on.
Okay, let's try not punch him over this time. And I've done 2 wounds to the Knight of the Pelor.
2 wounds. Now we do have 3 fates, so we'll roll them one at a time. In fact, I'll roll the 2 first. These are automatic victory points for Pete. Okay, and we pass the first 2 fate. There's still a victory point each, but it means that we take no wounds.
You've passed 1 fate roll because fate is on a 4+, and you rolled a 3 and a 5.
I will be editing this out. Okay, I need to roll another fate to see if I can avoid that. 2. So he takes a wound. So that was the danger of not using a point of might there to bump that up. So he takes 1 wound and he's lost his fate.
And I've gained 4 victory points, 3 for the fate and 1 for the wound that he still took.
So this is how it looks at the end of turn 3. Balin beat back Aema and managed to inflict a wound and taken away his fate. A few more Khazad have died. It looks like these guys are dwindling down quite a bit. And we've actually forgotten a combat over there, so we're going to sort that one out straight away. So we've got the Son of Earl versus the Khazad. It's a 2.
Clearly it's all it's late. Just
1+, so yeah.
Okay, so 2 of them got through.
6s.
This is how the game looks at the start of turn 4. We're about to roll for priority. So let's see which way it goes. We've got a 4 there from Pete. We've got a 2 from me. Reviewing movement at the start of turn 4. The Royal Guard charged in at the guy on the bottom step, hoping to block them all in, but they did manage to get around and get a couple of guys in contact there. A few more of the Rohirrim moved around. Another Westfold Red Shield coming in on the guy at the doorway. The Khazad who won the fight heroically last time is surrounded again. Let's see if he survives. An Outriders come around the back of this guy, and the Son of Earl has attacked the 2 guys who were climbing the last couple of turns. And these guys have managed to come around and get themselves into a scrap round here. Erkenbrand, who called a heroic move at the start of this. He moved in on Balin and managed to get the other guys into combat as well. So we're going to move on to shooting and we'll go from there. So finally I've remembered to call my heroic actions at the start of the appropriate turn. So I'm just letting you know that we are going to be calling heroic strike down here in the hero combat. We're going to make our way through the combats first of all. So we'll just start off with this Westfold Red Shield against the Dwarf. Happens. I'm going to piercing strike, which is the plus to attack and the minus to defense. So we can crack some of this Dwarf armor. So you got a 5 to wound and 2 4s. Isn't that always the way? Red Shield against the Khazad, who is charged.
So I'm just using my normal hand weapon.
Normal hand weapon gets a 1. And we get the 4. Need 6s. And we do get a couple of 6. 2 models off breaking. So we'll move on to Son of Earl versus the Khazad here. Hand over. So we've got 3 dice.
Again, just using my normal hand weapon.
Normal hand weapon rolls a 4. We get the 6, so we win that. He is knocked down, so we get the 6 dice, needing a 6. And we get a single 6, which is statistical. Okay, so around here we've got a knockdown combat, and the Khazad Guard and the 2 guys up top. So we do have a guy with an axe through the doorway, and we've got a fainting guy here. So one's going to faint, one's going to piercing strike. So we do win that one there. Okay, so we'll roll the piercing strike. Strength goes up to, so he goes up by 2, so he's a 5. So he's now wounding on 5s. And he kills him without the outrider. With a very good roll. So we're going to move on to the Son of Earl, who decided to charge the 2 guys who climbed down here. You won't be able to see too well because of the lighting.
Obliterates him.
We've just got one attack to the other.
Which kills him as well.
Kills him too. So they are broken now. So we're going to move on to the next one over here, this fight. And we win.
So our defense is decreased by 3, so he's now defense 4.
He's defense 4, so he's knocked down and trapped, etc. So we'll just do one at a time. So Westfold Red Shield, needing, what defense has he gone down to?
He's now defense 4, so you're going to need 5.
So 5, because we're strength 3. So 5, we roll in 1. 1, so we re-roll those 2 1s. And they don't get it, so we go on to the next one. 5s, re-roll in 1s. And he's dead. Okay, and before we move on to the next combat, I'm going to run for a wee.
Next up, a Royal Guard versus some Rangers.
We've got 5, 4 and a 3. So really, we need a 6.
And we get that.
So it's doubled because he's knocked down. And it's a 6. So he has a fate roll.
So if I get 4 or more, which I fail.
Which means dead Ranger of the North.
Now at the start you heard me say that I had called a heroic strike. That is true. I've called a heroic strike with Erkenbrand, who as a result will be down to 1 might. So let's see what that goes up to. His fight value will go from 5 to 7. Okay, so he's gone up to fight 7. So AMO is also fainting, which has to be the worst rolling I've ever seen, but you do get to re-roll 1 dice in the fight.
During magic axe, which lands me with another 1.
Wow. Okay, so you are knocked down. And we're going to start off with Aema, because he's strength 5, re-rolling 1s against defense,
8.
which will be 6s.
I
Strength
believe
5.
so. 5 against 8 is just about 6s.
Just about 6. Just close to being 6s and 4s, is it?
Closer to being 5s.
Ah, okay. Okay, so let's see. So we need 6s. And we've got 1 6 there. Okay, now there are a few 5s there, so I'm just going to hold on to those for a second because we might use some might to bump those up. We'll just see how Erkenbrand, there wasn't any 1s there, was there? No. No, okay. So we'll see how Erkenbrand gets on with his 6 dice. He's strength 4, needing 6s.
I think so. 4 against 8 still needs 6s.
So 6s. Okay, so we've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, how many fate points?
I believe. In fact, let's just check it.
And how many wounds?
He has 1 and only 2 wounds. So, regardless of taking fate rolls, he's actually dead.
So Balin has been killed by Erkenbrand and Aema together, hacked to pieces. And that takes us towards the end of this turn. Turn 5 priority, okay. And 6, and I had priority last time, so...
Even if you got 6, you're about back to me.
Exactly.
It's a courage test, and Halbrad's Banner of the Evenstar means that those guys pass.
This one unfortunately hasn't. He's got a very low courage. And just about manages to pass his test, his own test, which he fails miserably because he's only got courage 4. I say only.
Bye bye, buddy.
Another one that bites the dust.
These are not reinforcements, these are dead dwarves.
Although it would be cool for them to be reinforcements.
for you, maybe. We really are at the climax of that battle. We've done some movement, mainly just getting in position to shoot up at Halbrad, who was up there. Our shooting did manage to kill the ranger, who was in support. And we've also taken a fate off of Halbrad, so he's now fateless, which is another victory point to Rohan. And now we're going to move into the combats. So if we come down here, it is the Royal Guard who was actually charged, and the Son of Earl is with the other guys. So we'll just start off with the Royal Guard and the Ranger.
Okay, so I'm going to feint with the Ranger, so reduce my fight value by 3, and then see who wins the fight.
And that is the Royal Guard. So, you can move back up those stairs slightly. It's strength 3 against defense 4, which is 5s, and we don't care.
So I'll just put him back on the steps since he fell off.
So we're going to go on to the Son of Earl now versus the other Ranger,
who is also going to feint. So he drops his fight value by 5, and see who wins the fight.
And that is the Son of Earl.
Very definitely the Son of Earl.
So this is 4s that we're wounding on. We actually get 6 dice, but we'll just roll 3 and then roll 3 again. So 4s to wound, and he's dead on the first attempt. Now that will end this turn, so because it's the end of the turn after Pete broke, he's going to roll to see whether the game ends or not. On a 1 or 2 it ends. Anything else, it continues. I'm going into another turn. So we've decided, even though we rolled for the game to continue, Pete only has Halbrad left and 1 Ranger. It's going to be a bit fiddly on that terrain piece as well to finish off this game. So we have decided, and Pete has decided to concede. So, epic handshake. Thank you very much. It is another victory for Rohan. So, welcome all gamers to the post-battle BATREP breakdown. I hope that you've watched the battle before this. If not, it is a spoiler. It was another victory for Rohan. That's right, Rohan. Rohan is the way to go. Don't listen to these forums. We've been winning quite a lot. So, well played.
Likewise.
How do you think today went?
Well, as always, I enjoyed it, so that's always a plus.
Yeah, we really enjoyed playing together. Pete actually taught me how to play this game, so...
Clearly the students surpassed the master, but no, it's always really good fun to play with you, even if we have been playing till something like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Ridiculous.
Which
I've got a tournament in the morning, I've got to pay.
So yeah, we're both kind of tired, which is kind of the real reason we conceded the game where we did. I think there's a lot that I probably could have done better to start with, mostly to do with deployment. I held down the sword pretty well.
Same problem as Steve earlier today. Not to give a spoiler, I hope that you've watched that previous battle rep. If not, put your fingers in your ears. But it was the same problem with Steve. He deployed quite far away from each other with a relatively small model count, and it allowed me to effectively overwhelm one area, keep the other out of the way, and then overwhelm the other area. So because of the split forces, because of the manoeuvrability of the Rohan, the extra attacks on the charge, that was a big problem for both of you. So the score in the end of the Lords of Battle game was 25 points, sorry.
25, yeah.
To 7. 25 points for me was obviously killing most of his guys. I think he had Halbrad and 1 Ranger left. And his 7 points were for the 3 fate points of Aomer and the wound that was caused to Aomer, a Son of Earl, a horse and its rider, and the Outrider horse.
In fact, actually, we've got you get extra points for breaking rifles, so it's actually 28 to 7. 25 for wounds and fate points. 3 points for the breaking of me, or is it 5 in mortal battle? We'll probably check that and correct that.
It's very late.
So late that the camera broke on us at last. So thank you very, very much for watching that battle report. I'm sorry that the post-battle BATREP breakdown got cut off when it did, but I do hope you enjoyed the battle report. It did go on pretty late, this one. We do appreciate all of your support as always, so make sure you subscribe for more Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit strategy battle game videos, and also to see whether this all-mounted Rohan list can get taken down. As always, it's been James with another Great British Hobbit League production. Happy strategy battle gaming.